Hello and good morning. Welcome to my vlog. This one is based on 18-day compost. You are at my field, which is newly been converted from grassland into a working market garden by my own energy alone. It's been transferred using compost as the main fertility ingredient, so I need compost. Today is all about 18-day compost. Let me show you how I'm going to make it. Now, I'm going to be using pallet bins. This is newly made up on Saturday, 2 days ago, and the ingredients have been placed in them for the first time. It's all going along quite smoothly at the moment. I haven't shown you the build of pallets because it's quite simple. Three pallet bay, nothing's particularly special in that, screwed together. We're waiting slats on the front, so it looks a little bit more rustic than it will do when it's finished. But essentially, this is my way to make compost. There's three main parts to this video. This is the introduction. The second part is ingredients and particle size. That's fairly important, despite the fact you may not be able to get the particular material that I'll be using today. Because what I've got to say to you and show you is on particle size, and that will apply to any browns that you can get your hands hold of. So let me introduce that. But first of all, let's see after 48 hours what the temperature is in this pile. So as I said, very rustic wooden pallet sides with plastic covered on the sides. The plastic is not necessary if you're going to do a slow pile. This is all about fast composting, so it helps retain the moisture as long as you are willing to make the effort to actually turn it. I like turning compost. It's good physical activity and I enjoy the process. If you don't, you don't have to do it this way. This is not a must. This is an option for you to consider in the future. Okay, so let's look at the temperature after 48 hours, and it's basically up to 70 degrees. So it will be time to turn it in a minute, and we'll have a good look at it then. Let me get it uncovered. And as I've made mention before, you may not have access to bracken, but what I'm going to tell you is relevant to your situation. I'll explain as I go along. Firstly, this is bracken gathered from common land. You need owner's permission to actually gather it, although they won't mind because this is an invasive species that is a blasted pain. So by removing this stuff, you're removing the pressure on the grass below. Anyway, so what I'll do is, this is raw material that I get. I pass it through a 1-inch sieve. First of all, very large size, because all I'm looking to do is get the smaller stuff through. And this stuff is unwanted in this process and it's put to one side. So there we are, just a 1-inch sieve. It's quite fast to do, and you end up with this material. This material is perfect because it contains this size material as well, not the twig. So this material will provide air passageways when the compost gets going. Now bracken's very resistant to hot composting, so these bits will be in the end mix, but I can dead easy sieve those out. This material here, I'll show you in a second, is the brown that you really want, and this can apply to, I think, I'll get back to that in a minute. So I've now put these through this sort of sieve, a 1 centimeter sieve. It's just a mushroom tray, so I've removed this lot out of it. Now this lot is fine for the compost that I'm doing now, as I said, but it is a good volume of the material, so you don't want to lose all that. But in the autumn, when I want fast compost, superior compost, if I put it through that 1 centimeter sieve, I get this wonderful material, which is basically as good as peat. It's very fine particle size. It takes no time to rot down whatsoever. So with grass and that mix 50-50 and some material to help it go faster, it's a perfect ingredient. I'm sorry about the rustic nature of my containers, but there you go. Now, that perfect material that I would use is garden browns, and this will be available to you. This is sedum stems, agapanthus stems, dahlia stems, all sorts of things gathered up in the springtime. Most of these have hollow centres, perfect for airways. They'll take a couple of times before they go down. It's better if you break them into smaller chunks, but that will be perfect in your compost, perfect for helping the smaller browns breathe and get the air in the hot compost. Okay, if you don't have bracken, this would do very well indeed. And this stuff can be replaced with another ingredient that is freely available to all, and let me show you that right now. So much the same thing can be achieved with wood chips. Very much more common, and I will do a wood chip video when I start doing the wood chip compost in about a month's time, maybe shorter. But basically the ingredients are roughly the same. Using those garden browns that I just showed you as a way of aerating the pile, and then sieving the wood chip to get rid of the rough stuff, keep that back for the path, absolutely excellent. And then just to move a point, I'll get rid enough there. So this stuff is identical to the stuff that I showed you just now, slightly more woody of course, a little bit more harder to compost, but brilliant. So there's many other browns that we use. This is miscanthus, chopped down in the autumn. A little bit tougher, but perfect as a brown that will go before you use it in the springtime. So like we were discussing just now with the wood chip, it needs a brown material in the autumn. Well, this is a perfect ingredient. Miscanthus chopped down. There are many other browns that you'll get in the autumn that can also take this process. Again, it's got hollow stems and it will help the aeration of the pile with that lovely fine material. Right, so let's put the compost pile together. 24 hours before the video was made in the compost bay, I put together grass and bracken into a pile, open pile, just to get them started off. No need to do this normally, it's just that I had the materials then and no bin. Just showing you the temperature, 60 degrees in the centre, 58 degrees on the edges. Now then, what I'm doing now is put together the layers that are not layers. I try and avoid putting clumps of grass in, so I pre-mix the bracken and grass and other bits and put them in one wheelbarrow at a time. So the hard work's done away from the pile and just gradually accumulating all the materials. The worst thing you can have is layers of grass, because if you're away for a little bit longer than you anticipated, they can and will have a sludgy anaerobic mess, and there's no coming back from that. It's very hard to get around it. Once you've completed this very basic pile, it's time to cover it with plastic so you retain control of the moisture levels. The compost itself goes directly on the soil because that's the way I like it. The microbiology finds easy access to the actual pile itself, and the soil under, when you're finished, will be in a far better condition. You can always dig that out and use it where you want it. There we are. That's it, finished for today. Thank you very much for joining me. See you in part 2 in a couple of days.